Welcome back to the show. Stablecoin bill, anti-CBDC bill, market infrastructure bill, delayed, back on, delayed. What's going on? Well, somebody roll that beautiful intro so we can find out.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.83 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 1.2%. Bitcoin, however, holding 118,000 plus right now. Ethereum over $3,100 at the moment. XRP right now holding 295 at the number 3 spot. Now we're up 1.1 on the 24. But we're up 24% on the 7-day. Yes, you heard that right. We're up 24% on the 7-day. We're ranging between 285 to 296. So we're at the top side of that range right now. And we heard yesterday afternoon that the vote, it didn't go through. It failed. Well, we're going to get there. We're going to unpack all of this. But before we do, I want to tell you about Caleb and Brown. XRPwealth589.com. Go there. Click the link under any video. XRPwealth589.com and open up your account today and start getting no hidden fees, no hidden spreads, one flat rate, free institutional grade custody, multiple layers of security, and you get human customer service, prime broker, technical person to speak to about your account. You get it all. That's what you get here. And listen, you guys know I split my assets up across multiple platforms, and this is one of those trusted places. And all I'm asking you to do is check it out and see if it's right for yourself. I love it. I think you're going to love it. Make sure you give them a look. XRPwealth589.com. And right here, Pro Shares UXRP Ultra XRP ETF. For the record, this is a futures ETF, just so everybody knows. But it is cleared for takeoff. Ladies and gentlemen, is cleared for takeoff. So we'll let you know as that comes together. And Ripple confirms intentions to pursue a MiCA license for EU expansion. Now, I'll just go into this one more time here. Let's see. It's Payment Solution Ripple has confirmed its pursuit for market infrastructure in crypto asset, which is the MiCA license, to expand its EU presence. And Ripple spokesperson said that it intends to become a MiCA compliant as it recognizes significant opportunity in the European market. It says here, the statement follows Ripple registration with Ripple Payments Europe SA and Luxembourg in late April that triggered this understanding. But I want to remind people that we also have a license in Ireland that gives us the ability, Ripple, the ability to operate throughout the entire EU as well. So look, get it. I love it. Keep it coming. And then what do we have here? A happy week for crypto it was yesterday. And the president said the House will soon vote on a tremendous bill to make America the undisputed #1 leader in digital assets. Nobody does it better. The Genius Act is going to put our great nation light years ahead of China, Europe, and all others who are trying endlessly to catch up, but they just can't do it. Digital assets are the future, and we are leading by a lot. Get the first vote done, and this afternoon, all Republicans should vote yes. This is our moment. Digital assets, genius, clarity. It's all part of making America great again, bigger and better than ever before. We're leading the world, and we'll work hard with the Senate and the House to get even more legislation on this passed. Now, with that being said, Representative French Hill brings up the Dodd-Frank Act. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but you need to hear a piece of this.
Good morning. Today's hearing is focused on reviewing Dodd-Frank's real-world impact and its unintended consequences over the past 15 years. Our colleagues across the aisle often criticize today's banking system, but rarely do they acknowledge that it's a direct result of the policies they enacted after the 2008 financial crisis along party lines. Dodd-Frank was sold to the American people as a sweeping fix to prevent another crisis, yet over time it's become clear that this approach has not delivered as promised for Main Street.
And it's absolutely true. Remember all the times in the last few years we covered Nellie Yang testifying in front of Congress. How come FSOC, how come the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which is under Dodd-Frank, how come they haven't taken action to subvert any kind of crisis or things coming in? Because they never take action. But when they do take action, it seems to be with a political platform and ideology, like he has mentioned, and he goes on to mention through here. So I bring this up because Dodd-Frank birthed FSOC, Financial Stability Oversight Council, which has the ability and power to designate entities as systemically important financial market utilities, known as SIFMUs or SIFMEs, systemically important financial market infrastructure. And we all know that XRP Ledger and RippleNet are all really infrastructure, right? So this is a super, super important to know that they're starting to dance around Dodd-Frank here. But in this regard, I think the conversation is going to where they've gotten politically steeped and mission creep has gotten into Dodd-Frank and other areas of Dodd-Frank and not subverting the crisis for Americans, and then pushing things like innovation, like distributed ledger technology and crypto offshore. So I just wanted to get the 411 on that. And then I wanted to lay this down. House Committee on Financial Services says the era of digital assets is no longer just a promise, it's a national priority. And I tell you, that was hugely bullish yesterday morning hearing that. And then I said, between Representative French Hill and that comment saying it was a national priority, that told me, I was like, you know what, that heightens things, and it sounds like a SIFMU or SIFME designation are coming our way in some way, shape, or form. And I do not rule that out. You know, the XRP ledger could be deemed a public good and a systemically important financial market infrastructure. I don't know. Utility, maybe. You tell me. What I do know is that if you ask any informed leader what cemented the world as we know it today, the answer is clear as Bretton Woods. And I'll tell you what, as Scott Bessent, and we've covered it here a bunch of times, says there's a new Bretton Woods underway. And I say, and make no mistake about the matter, Crypto Week is a big piece to the puzzle and US dollar dominance. Here is Tom Emmer giving an incredible couple minutes here saying America is going to become the crypto capital of the world. This is all before we heard that the vote failed.
This week, we are delivering on President Trump's promise to make America the crypto capital of the world. For too long, digital asset innovation in this country has been stifled by ambiguous rules, instability, and the Biden administration's anti-crypto crusade. Now we have the opportunity to pass a comprehensive, nonpartisan digital asset legislation that will unlock the next era of American innovation, protect consumers, and strengthen the U.S. dollar. Where ambiguity and unclear jurisdiction have stifled blockchain innovation, the Clarity Act will create a much-needed regulatory framework for the digital asset marketplace. Doing this not only gives builders and firms the rules of the road, it also ensures consumers are protected against fraud and bad actors. And the Senate's Genius Act will peg stablecoins to a stable currency like the U.S. dollar.
As we said, the U.S. dollar.
Opening the door for the United States to lead the world in digital finance.
There it is right there. And let's keep going, because then we had the vote and what happened? 210 Democrats and 13 Republicans voted against advancing the Crypto Genius Act, Clarity Act, and the Anti-CBDC Act. Yeah, that's what happened. Wow. And then I said, sounds like Congress wants to buy the dip before passing legislation. Let's call this the Pelosi Play For Fun. Take a listen to what this was.
To advance in the House, I believe. Let's get the details from Emily Wilkins. Emily.
Hey, Kelly. So, yes, this House was just holding a procedural vote that would have then led to the vote on 3 different crypto bills. And that procedural vote has failed. Now, we should note, of course, here that rule was not just on crypto bills. It was also going to set up a vote on funding for the Defense Department. We're trying to learn a little bit more about why the bill went down, but this definitely puts a wrinkle into House Republicans' plan to have this crypto week where they were going to pass crypto bills. You have to get that process vote in place to actually move on to the other votes. One of the members who did vote against the process, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually tweeted a bit this morning, voicing some of her concerns with the bill in relation to a central bank digital currency. She was concerned that the bills did not do enough to prevent that from being created by the U.S. government, saying that more oversight was needed. Of course, we'll be speaking with more of these lawmakers who voted against the bill to better understand their concerns, how many of them had to do with crypto versus defense. But again, this is a huge wrinkle. There were a lot of folks, crypto industry lawmakers, who were expecting these bills to get done this week. It now looks like Republican leaders might need to go back to the drawing board to figure out how to get this done.
Well, listen here. Let me just jump in here. First of all, God bless Marjorie Greene, but you know what, Representative Greene, she was reluctant to vote and voted no because she said that, I want to make sure that the government and the Fed can't create a central bank digital currency. The majority whip has that legislation proposed to vote on. She voted no against voting for that too. Okay. So listen, I don't know whether we got to start doing an IQ test before people get into this place. I'm not sure what's happening here, but what I do know is the cynical side of me says maybe the Congress realized just how big this is going to be and said no to it so they could all go home and then open up their computers and vote, or not vote, but buy some crypto, because that's what's been going on, stuff like that. So Cody Carbone says it right here. President Trump says, I'm in the Oval Office with 11 of the 12 congressmen and women necessary to pass the Genius Act. And after a short discussion, they have all agreed to vote tomorrow morning in favor of the rule. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was at the meeting via telephone and looks forward to taking the vote as early as possible. I want to thank the congressmen and women for their quick and positive response. Make America great again. Cody Carbone from the Digital Chamber says here, he says, back to our regular scheduled programming. Let's win. Yes, and that's exactly where we are. The vote is back on. David Sachs, the crypto AI czar, says our deal maker in chief never stops working and winning here. It's going back on today, and they look forward to voting on the Genius Act and the CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act tomorrow, and that will be at right around 12:20, says Eleanor Terrett here. Another procedural vote has been scheduled for tomorrow around 12:20 p.m., according to the House voting schedule just sent out by Steve Scalise. If the procedural vote passes, we could see debate and final passage votes start afterwards. So that's what we need to see. And as I said right here, like I said, and I went on a whole spiel when they said the vote had failed. Not for a second did I buy any of that. One of the things I said was this. Like I said, the people serving in Congress, their kids use U.S. dollars too. The vote is back on the table. Yeah. And, for me, I have to say that, this is about the U.S. dollar, as Tom Emmer mentioned, as I've talked on stage with the Honorable Christian Carlo, who you're going to hear from him in a second. This is not negotiable. We will be living like a Mad Max movie inside of 5 years if they don't pass this legislation, is how I'm seeing it. And I think they understand it the same exact way, to be honest with you. So let's take a listen here. It's a quick little interview with Christian Carlo and Ray Fuentes. Shout out to Ray. Let's take a listen to this, and it's fantastic.
Really, with the ending of the crypto hostility we've seen out of Washington for the last 4 years, and really a policy-led rebirth of this industry, the excitement is palpable. We are going to have stable coins. We are going to have dollar-based, yen-based, euro-based, pound-based. We are going to have...
You hear what he just said? We got all of that getting ready to happen on the XRP ledger. You watch.
CBDC. We're going to have a digital euro, a digital yen. We may have others. We're going to have tokenized deposits. So the future is going to be all the above. I think we're in one of the most exciting times, and I think this period is going to run for quite some time before we may see some consolidation take place.
I think that's absolutely spot on right there.
The United States needs to see more demand for U.S. treasuries. and stable coins, they're estimating, could hold anywhere as much as $4 to $6 trillion of U.S. Treasuries in the next several years.
You would think that.
Now, really quickly, not to cut Ray off there, but, you know, just to say, I told you it's about the U.S. dollar.
The tax bill would be passed first because the government wants to get that money.
Right. You would think so. But you know what? Our government depends more on debt issuance than it does on tax collection. The CFTC was the innovator in the digital space amongst America's alphabet soup of agencies, and we don't want to lose that innovative edge. But to unseat a reserve currency, you've got to replace it with something. And so far, the world hasn't found something to replace the dollar with. Certainly the BRICS nations, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, have proposed a rival currency. And what are the role that important digital assets like XRP and like stablecoins based on XRP can do to enhance that?
Hey, what's going?
There you have it right there. Shout out to Ray for that great conversation. And let's take a look at what Eggrad Crypto says. Expert Eggrad Crypto highlights the Valhalla gateway that could take XRP to $12 to $23, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get above 365 and watch this thing fly. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. Listen, we're going into the Freedom Zone, and I hope you will join us. We're going to hop around on some material today, but I tell you what, we're going to talk about the jab. We're going to talk about someone who says that they've got an insider in the crypto space about XRP and what's coming, and you are going to love that little piece of information. We're going to cover that too, and then we're going to talk about journalists or just actors. That's what we're going to talk about. Listen, again, not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into Freedom Zone. I hope you'll join us. Click the join button under any video or join us in Patreon or on Twitter, on X as well. Same price, same perks. And I tell you, you won't believe what we're talking about in here today. Let's get started right now. Come on in.